So apparently, the previous video got a dislike. It's not the first dislike I have gotten. The previous ones I got are from the Last of Us Part 2 video I made with the Dolph is Justice comparison from Alfred J. Quack cartoon, and the trial demo video where I try to respond to Critical Drinker with Dreambroker Studio. And I can understand why those two videos got their dislikes. Last of Us Part 2 has its own shitstorm surrounding it. And the Dreambroker Studio demo slash response video was not made very well. But I don't see how or why my review for the sixth episode got a dislike, since all two comments left on it were positive and neutral that didn't warrant any reasons to justify giving the dislike. I mean, when I dislike someone's video, I usually leave a comment to the video explaining how and why I disagree with the video's message to justify my actions. I wonder what I did wrong with the episode 6's review that warranted it getting the dislike, but otherwise I think I have talked enough about it. Let's go with the first half of this two-parter. Alright, this episode opens up with the Infinity Inc. Yeah, I'll just call these kids the Infinity Inc. as they were in the 1986 comic book series. Each member starting their days their own way. Courtney greeting the cosmic staff, Rick etching the Hourman's logo onto the tree where his parents died, Yolanda working out, and Beth being Beth. At Courtney's house, she and Pat exit the basement in the middle of a conversation that gets overheard by Mike coming home from his paper route and leads to them making up a lie to hide their superhero business. The lie is about Pat teaching Courtney how to drive, which Barbara is not very thrilled to hear about as the last person. Pat makes a genuine attempt to apologize and make it up to her by hinting at telling her about everything at some point. Next, we see Shiv, or Cindy as her name is, and Brainwave Jr. at the hospital looking at the comatose Brainwave Sr. and the daddy's boy giving a cold shoulder to his girlfriend, who, based on what we have seen of her so far, just takes it without lashing at her. Ultimately, this treatment leads to Shiv's day leading up to go foul mood at school. The onlooking Courtney, Beth, Rick, and Yolanda comment on this by expositioning that she used to be nicer before her mother died and her father started remarrying different people. Rick, however, having grown up abused by his uncle, tells this to be a bad excuse to be a bad person. And Beth, you are the one who brought up Red Beef 2 episodes ago. Start taking your own advice about not talking about superhero business when you're in your civilian guises! Shiv's foul mood continues when being greeted by her friend Jenny about the upcoming homecoming dance and not going there. She also yells at janitor Justin when she bumps into him, and when Courtney helps him get up the fallen mop of the floor, the amnestic knight thanks her by calling Courtney lady. And not in the fedora tipping white knight kind of way. Shiv's mood seems to swing this way and that way because next we see her demanding Brainwave Jr. to go to the homecoming dance, to which the daddy's boy still refuses to attend, even as a football player. Between scenes, we are shown janitor Justin having an ornament sword in his office. During this school day, Courtney is forced to partner up with Shiv in the chemistry class, while Brainwave Jr.'s psionic powers keep activating during a test where he can hear the thoughts of everyone in the class and hear the answers from other students. In chemistry, Courtney learns from Shiv that her father is a chemist and she knows what she is doing, and working as partners in the project, I can see the potential for Shiv to be a better person, however small it might be. Shiv does ask if Courtney wants to hang out with her during the weekend when they are both not actually going to the homecoming dance, which she accepts, so maybe Shiv does indeed have some good qualities. Unfortunately, the next scene where Shiv arrives home to her stepmother, we see her as a terrible person once more. We also get to see that her house is connected to the underground tunnels under Blue Valley that lead to the Injustice Society's headquarters. Shiv overhears the ISA recounting Sportsmaster's and Tigress's encounter with Infinity Inc. in the last episode, as well as their urgencies to find out who the meddling kids are sooner rather than later, before her father, the Dragon King, drags her away. At Pat's garage, Courtney and her friends arrive to their first day of training, which includes some low budget training dummies that Pat has built to give a history lesson about how the Justice Society worked as a team, aka how the kids are supposed to work too, and each of the Injustice Society members' histories. And here we still get to witness that Courtney is not a fast learner as she speaks over Pat and keeps interrupting him. To make this short, the amount of which Courtney and her friends know about the Injustice Society members is like knowing the opening paragraph of a Wikipedia article, and they think that is enough while Pat keeps trying to show them the rest of the damn page. The only thing Courtney is right about is the old, not up to date information about Principal Bowen being the new fiddler, which without any evidence she cannot prove to Pat and make him believe her. And then she destroys the training dummies without letting Beth, Rick, or Yolanda train on them. They rightfully call her out on this before Pat sends them home. While this is happening, we see Dragon King and Shiv having a similar confrontation as Pat and Courtney, showcasing the parallels between a child of a hero slash sidekick and the child of a villain wanting to be in the big leagues. I'll go more into this when I'm giving my overall thoughts. Also, we get to see Shiv to be the same human Swiss Army knife that she is in the comics, as well as her comic book accurate costume that she will be wearing later in the episode. Over at Icicle's large house, Cameron, aka Icicle Jr., is asking his father about an advice about how to ask a certain girl out to the homecoming dance. Icicle gives his son the good old How I Met Your Mother story and uses it as an example on how to just go and ask the girl out while you're both probably still interested in each other and not just wait for the probable mutual attraction to have died out. Pat, Courtney, and Mike are at the homecoming game, where Artemis Crook is carrying the team and Courtney is suspicious of Principal Bowen. While Pat goes to get them some snacks, Mike starts an argument with Courtney about her stealing his dad away from him and suggesting that he has some issues left from Pat's previous marriage to Mike's mother. Us who have read Stars and Stripes can draw our own conclusions. After Mike storms off, Cameron approaches Courtney and does what a man's job is in asking her out to the homecoming dance, which happens to be when she agreed to hang out with Shiv. Being a teenage girl, Courtney agrees immediately before remembering her plans with Shiv and thinks she can reschedule them. But as we have learned from Shiv by now, that won't work and she furiously tells her that they are done. After that is over, Courtney spies Principal Bowen leaving to take a phone call and manages to eavesdrop on it being about her continued attempts to awaken Brainwave Sr. from his coma, and follows her to see the principal open a secret door to the underground tunnels. This causes Courtney to suit up as Stargirl and follow her principal as the sentient cosmic staff joins her, and she is seen in the hallway by Sir Justin. While Stargirl breaks down the secret door to the underground, Shiv goes to cry over to her father, who is not there, about being dumped by Courtney, not getting to the boss room as the codes have been changed, and then sees Stargirl going through the tunnels via security cameras and suits up in her comic book accurate costume. And ha! The tunnels must have been built so that you need to know where you are going, because the route Courtney took takes her back to school's hallway, where Shiv attacks her. They fight inside the school while everyone else is distracted by the game, and it's pretty clear to me which one of them is holding herself back and which one of them is trying to kill the other. I'll go more into this later. After burning Shiv's face off and seeing it regenerating back via healing factor, another gift from Dragon King, they keep fighting until Shiv manages to stab Courtney's hands through the cosmic staff and force her down wounded. Before getting her chance to kill her, the Shining Knight arrives to the scene and saves the damsel in distress, and leaves the scene while the cosmic staff recovers and goes to get Pat. Before the stepfather gets to his wounded stepdaughter, Shiv also makes her limping escape. I don't know if she registers hearing Pat calling out for Courtney by her name as he arrives, but Sir Justin witnesses Pat arrive and calls him Stripesy. The B plot going parallel to the main plot involves Barbara getting an out of town work assignment from Icicle. It lasts about 3 scenes. The opening scene at her house where she feels left out when hearing about Pat and Courtney's driving school, the scene where Icicle gives her the assignment, and the scene where she says goodbye for now to her family. This could be a way to get her out of the house when Shiv attacks there, or that is how he or how she did attack them in the Stars and Stripes comic book series, and how Barbara was let in on her daughter and husband being a superhero and a sidekick. Either that, or she comes home to witness the aftermath, or something else. This episode was written by Evan Bell as his first ever writing credit and directed by Leah Thompson, who is best known for her role in Back to the Future, a movie I only saw a couple of years ago for the first time, alone by myself from Netflix. She has also directed some TV show episodes for shows that I have not watched. And with that out of the way, let's talk about Shiv. In my review of the fourth episode, I expressed impatient desire to see her turning into the villain she is in the comics so she could rightfully be beaten for her doing what she did to Yolanda. I'm taking that back for the most parts after getting more context behind her actions in this episode. To go through her life chronologically, her father, the Dragon King, had begun experimenting on turning her into a Swiss Army knife around the age of 7 or to 12, which led to her accidentally killing her mother. Her father apparently did not blame her as long as she takes the accident as a lesson to learn from, a lesson not to use her augmentations to kill people and homemade stepmothers. While also knowing that her father is a supervillain working with other supervillains, Shiv has also been raised among supervillains and naturally saw herself becoming a supervillain. However, Dragon King wanted her to live her teenage years as a teenager among teenagers. This is why she has been acting like is above everyone else in school, because she literally is above them in the hierarchy of heroes, villains, and civilians. And the only reason why she is with Brainwave Jr. is because 1. He is also a child of a supervillain, so an equal to her. And 2. Because she was told to be with the daddy's boy to keep an eye on him as a backup plan. That means that exposing Yolanda's private selfies was being done by the will of the Dragon King and the Injustice Society. Shiv didn't destroy Yolanda's life only because she was jealous, but because she was told to. Based on the last episode, Gambler must have also hacked Yolanda's and Brainwave Jr.'s phones to get the selfies and passed them to Shiv to spread, meaning that the adult villains loaded the gun, pointed it at Yolanda, and gave it to Shiv, a child, to shoot. And now let's get to this episode. While Shiv is still stuck working on keeping an eye on Brainwave Jr., she is obviously starting to grow tired of babysitting the daddy's boy. Okay, that got old. It's true, that is what he is, but I'm tired of calling him that now. Anyway, as I said earlier, that Shiv used to see Brainwave Jr. as an equal, she is starting to lose interest and now she is just with him because she is told to, not because she wants to. When lashing out to her friend Jenny, Shiv begins to see herself not just above everyone else, but also realizes that it's lonely up there on the mountaintop. Being forced to partner up with Courtney seems to give Shiv the idea that she could start over by being friends with the new girl in town and through the new friendship be a better person. But then Cameron asks Courtney out and those plans get thrown out the window. Without Dragon King, aka Dad, telling her to calm down or and not to do anything irrational, she ends up doing something that she was told not to do earlier in the episode. Taking her comic book accurate villain costume and going to blow off some steam by going to beat up Stargirl. This up down roller coaster ride of a life is what led to her going from Cindy Berman to Shiv. Or at least that is my analysis with her character development as a supervillain. What Rick said early in the episode about Shiv being a bad person with an excuse is partly true, but this stage by stage lifeline going up and down is what dissects and autopsy is how Shiv ended up becoming a bad person. That is what makes her a believable villain. As both Courtney and Shiv are characters created by Geoff Johns, Shiv can be seen as a darker reflection of Courtney. An example of what Courtney would become if she was making the mistakes she has made so far on purpose with malicious contempt instead of by accident and good intentions. The scene going back and forth between Pat talking to Courtney and Dragon King talking to Shiv is a visual presentation of this. Geoff Johns has done this before with other Nemesis heroes and villains he has written, with Hal Jordan and Sinestro, with Barry Allen and Eobard Thawne, and with Aquaman and Black Manta. It's also something that can be seen in their fight together. So far, all the one-on-one battles Courtney has been in have been with her going against stronger opponents that start out by holding themselves back and toying with her, except when it comes to Icicle, to learn and assess who Stargirl is, as smart fighters are supposed to do with men facing off against an unknown opponent. Shiv, on the other hand, was all ready to kill her just so she could blow off some steam while Courtney was just trying to survive. I don't know how this is going to go forward with in the next episode, but I can speculate with Courtney being out of the game due to her injuries and Shiv getting yelled at by her father. I think there are only two things worth mentioning here in the fan service section. The fact that Geoff Johns got to give another one of his creations some more depth and personality in this rewritten adaptation of his comic book, and then there is the preceding arrival of the Shining Knight. Yep, it's official. One of the upcoming episode names confirms it, with Sir Justin showing off his swordsmanship when rescuing Stargirl from Shiv. I am not a trained psychiatrist, but I hope my analysis on Shiv holds up on the long run. Again, it is based on how Geoff Johns has written villains before in going through their lives from their childhood to the present story being told. So far, we have seen the round one between her and Courtney, so round two will be up for next week's episode, probably. Otherwise, in closing, I have opened up a Twitter account to get more coverage on these videos, but so far I have only one follower. Link is in the description, follow me if you want. I might post some hand-drawn artwork along with the alerts of the videos like this, and what I might be doing after the season is over. I'm also on Instagram. So, until the next video comes about the next week's episode of Stargirl, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and may your heart be your guiding key.